Thank you very much for your introduction, but I have some reservation about your introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my pleasure to be here, especially after the last year ordeal. I regained my freedom and become a free man again in front of you. Last year I only lost my freedom about 66 days, not really too long time. My first time I lost it about 19 years. I'm not a hero, definitely not. I just as a survivor of witnesses. If you have a chance reading The Bitter Wings, in my year in Chinese Gulag, many times, many occasions, I can right away disappear. I was starved to death, I was tortured, the police are ready for the coffin for me, I was committing suicide. So, if in one occasion I pass away, there's no Harry Wu. But I'm pretty sure someone will come over here, tell you about their own experience. So my book, probably just like a piece of brick on the Chinese Great Wall. I just have got a little bit courageous and determination, removed it. And you can have a glimpse inside China. I think today, if you say you are really respected by me, but I think the reason is behind me, there's millions of people. They are voiceless, nameless, faceless, but they are same as you as a human beings. They deserve all of these honor. They deserve all of these credit. My presentation was starting on the current situation today in China. In our 20th century, we have witnessed many catastrophes in our human being societies. Heavily killings during the 2 world wars, mass destruction of atomic bomb, the rapid spread of AIDS. Yet, when added together, these catastrophes are far dwarfed by the experience to bringing the idea of communism. We have paid immeasurable prices in politics, economics, cultural, morals, human rights, and many areas. I remember there is a quotation from Marx Engels' manifesto of the 1848, the Communist Party, manifesto of the Communist Party. It began with, quote, "A specter, communism, is hovering over Europe." And 69 years later, in 1917, the specter landed in Russia and took roots. Another 32 years passed. In 1949, it blossomed in mainland China. By the middle of the 20th century, communism took over power in one country after another. But however, beginning in 1990s, a series of communist powers, big and small, were swept away like the fallen leaves by the autumn winds, simply disappearing from the horizon. And today, many people is talking about China, the largest communist country in the world. Where is China heading? The present situation today in mainland China can be summarized by Soviet leader Lenin. He said, quote, "Those at the top are no longer able to rule the old way. Those at the bottom do not accept being ruled the old way. No doubt, China has changed rapidly in the last 15 years. And it is true, if compared with the past 100 of years, especially the last 40 years under the communist rule, the living condition of common Chinese people has felt much better. Yet, the drive to not accept being ruled by the old way comes from the common people who desire to have a better life. The new communist ruler, Deng Xiaoping, has played very smart. Deng Xiaoping understands they will have lost the regime if they still continuing the Mao Zedong line. And they realize they must withdraw a few inches to give people some breathing room, just as the Chinese employers did before them, and who always shift to the moderate policy after the peasants' uprisings or political crisis. So, just as Deng Xiaoping said, quote, economically, countries and regimes around us develop faster than us. If we cease developing or develop slower, people will compare and things were going wrong. That's why Deng Xiaoping has frequently said he doesn't care if the cat is white or black, so long as it catches mouse. But Deng Xiaoping has tried wholeheartedly to raise socialism from the dead by installing a capitalist soul. Despite the numerous reforms over the last decade, today the country is still entirely controlled by the Communist Party and remains a lawless nation. The life today in China has changed in recent years, cannot be denied. And many people today merchant the hamburgers in McDonald's, buying the blue jeans from Levi Strauss, and then watching the NBA. You know, last year I was in the custody, all these young lieutenants, they know about Michael Jordan. And they also know about O.J. Simpson. And they're very interesting to listen to me talking about Susan Smith's case. They know about it. But what does all this add up together? Chinese Communist government make a very quiet, open in their determination that they want to maintain the socialism as a part of the communism system. Today, the communist ruler clearly tell the people of the world that they have no interest in or intention to give up the idea of communism. China has made a concession to the outside world. It claims that the regime has moved to, quote, socialism market economy. And many Westerners has been unduly impressed because they associate the term market economic as freedom of choice, and thus carry the positive connotation of business and profit. But they seem to ignore the preceding word, socialism. But Chinese government make it very clear. They said, quote, what we want to achieve through reform is to adopt the operating mechanism of a market economy, which is the same as you have in your economy. The only differences is that your economic system is based on private ownership, while our market economy was still based on socialist public ownership. At root, Chinese economic reforms have created no miracle at all. If there's any miracle, it is in how the regime and its West collaborators have won acceptance from the West of the illusion that China is moving toward capitalism. The fact is, of course, that the West is responsible for the socialistic economic boom through an enormous flow of trade, investment, technology, and other forms of aid. The rationale for this strange exercise is that it will sometime serve to transform Chinese totalitarian system. And I think this is a very noble wish. Today, China has created a state-controlled bureaucratic capitalism. A state bureaucratic capitalism would not and cannot bring about human rights and democracy back to China. But we have to understand, communism system can be very soon dismissed from Chinese political stage. But that doesn't mean China will right away turn into a democratic society. In front of China is a long, long path leading to an unforeseeable future. Today, a solved question asks whether the West has a genuine wish to transfer Chinese totalitarian system. Western policy towards China, especially the United States policy, it seems to limit it to supporting their interests of business. It seems to be driven more by quarterly profit considerations, access to cheap labor, and wishful thinking about buying potential of over 1 billion Chinese. But we do have to know, when the people try to tell you China will become an economic giant in next century, but they fail to mention you. Economic giant also is a military giant, a political giant, but this is a communist giant. The West just relax from the Berlin Wall peacefully turned down. If next century in the East there's a communist giant, how you handle it? I want to mention you what happened last March with the Chinese military maneuvers held in the Taiwan Strait. This time, the American aircraft carrier flew over in response to its maneuver, which of course was not a friendly exercise at all. Since President Nixon visited China, since the Vietnam War ended, this is the first time American military faced to Chinese communist military. I saw this as a sign of a new Cold War. Today, US-China policy is similar to the 1930s British appeasement policy towards the Hitler Germany. Remember, from 1933 to 1937, in 5 years, Germany economy increased 73%. Starting on 1933, Hitler already set up a number of the concentration camps. And nobody boycotted 1936 Olympic game in Berlin. Germany people at the time very happy. We are rebuilding, we are recovering. And also allow me to remind you what the Lord Winston Churchill said to Prime Minister Chamberlain when he have a appeasement mission come back from the Munich. Churchill actually said, no, we cannot deal with the man. Can we deal with the Chinese Communist repressive policy? Today in China, communism as an ideology has been died for some times. So that is only one choice open to the Communist Party leadership, that they must portray themselves as a patriots or nationalists. They can reach back to the history, and they know they can appeal to the Chinese that how the Western people insult us, exploit us, and invade our motherland. I think this is the legacy, and this is the feudalism tradition can be using to support the communism revolution purpose. Many people today talking about human rights abuses in China. Recently, you heard a number of the dissidents either escaped, flew out from China, or arrested by Chinese government. The famous human rights, the democratic fighter Wei Jingsheng was sentenced 14 years. One of the major leaders, student leader, Wang Dan, is facing the charge, probably more than 10 years. From my view, the core of the human rights question in China is that there is a fundamental machinery they call Laogai system. Laogai, Laogai. It's a very new and very different pronunciation, very difficult pronunciated word. But in China, everybody knows about it. Laogai. It means reform through labor. Lao is mean Laodong, labor, hard labor. Reform means brand, as you know, as a brainwashing. All the presidents in China include the petty thief, include the robber, rapist, subject to hard labor. Black and white in a print, 10 to 12 hours. And also subject to brainwashing. All the prisoners have to admit their crime, submit the confession before the trial, submit the confession and the end of the sentence, serve the sentence. All of them are allowed to keep their political viewpoints. They have to give up their religious. 2 months ago, I interviewed a priest, Catholic priest. He spent 35 years in Chinese prison camp. He can tell you a tremendous, horrible story. He said, once I was punished, put in the solitary confinement. I said, what does it look like? Because I was a solitary confinement. It's made by cement, 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and only 3 feet height. According to the solitary confinement regulation, in the beginning 3 days is no food. And I say, tell me about what is your solitary confinement. He said, oh, my confinement is different with you. I can stand, but I cannot sit. I cannot sleep. I said, why? Because the ground, underground have 1 feet deep water. I said, why they put in a solitary confinement? He said, you have to know I'm a priest. They not allow me to do a prayer. So I secretly do my prayer somewhere, and the other prisoners inform the police that I reserve the punishment. Since 1949, when communists come to the power, Stalin arranged a number of the Gulag experts went to China, helped the Chinese Communist government set up Chinese system. They have a new name, Laogai. That's why today, the people ask me, Harry, what are you doing? What are you fighting? Why you risk your life, go back to China? Why you travel around, try to tell the people? What are you telling the people? I said, I want to see one thing. I want to see the word Laogai, Laogai, appear in every dictionary, in every language, in every country. As you know, before 1974, Alexander Solzhenitsyn's book, Archipelago Gulag, G-U-L-A-G is not a word. Even today, you cannot find in Chinese Communist dictionary. But today it does. It's a very common word, everybody knows about it. Gulag means Stalin labor camp, means Soviet political violence. Under the turn of Laogai, 50 million people have been thrown in this camp system. 25 million people disappear. Today, I stand in front of you, just I'm a very lucky survivor. Okay. Chinese prison camp, according to the law, have two different names. Have an enterprise's name as a factory, as a coal mine, as a farm, and it is true. It is a manufacturing, it's a production unit. So even you walk into downtown, you will see a hand-tool manufacturing factory. You will see the chemical factory. You didn't know this is a prison camp because there is a second gate inside, another wall inside. Of course, they have another name in the judiciary system as a prison. So today, the prison system in China become very large enterprise system. 1,100 labor camps, 1,100 enterprises that produce a lot of different products, agricultural products, mining products, industrial products. Of course, at the beginning, most of these are primitive labor. And many camps was located in the desert as a so-called, we call the China Siberia, is located in Xinjiang and Qinghai. I want to tell you one of the Chinese information. Chinese documents said in 1955, Prime Minister Zhou Enlai made an order, gather 2 million prisoners from Zhejiang, Jiangsu, 2 provinces, and from one city, Shanghai. Went to the river, Waihe River, to build the dam on the river. 1 year later, half of them disappeared. In 1956, Chinese Central Party Committee have a special meeting for this issue. Most of these railway projects, dam project in the river, highway project, is constructed by the prisoners. But after 40 years, these prison production upgraded. Today, many #1 enterprises in manufacturing actually is prison camp. For example, located in Buffalo, there's an American firm, have a 14 years relation with chain hoist manufacturing. It's a prison camp, Zhejiang #2 prison, Zhejiang #4 prison. They sell the chain hoist to all of the world. There's one very famous enterprises in Shenyang. They can produce 8 million pairs rubber shoes every year. The #1 steel pipe factory, the #1 hand tools factory in China, prison camp. 1/3 of the tea national output is come from prison camp. A very large quantity cotton is growing by the prisoners. And many products illegally export to the United States. Since 1991 until today, the American issued 26 detention orders. The latest one is last May in 1996, May 1996, tried to ban the forced labor products import to the United States. 1992, I have a chance to visit the Dachau camp. I was really shocked. This 1933 establishment labor camps, concentration camp in Germany, in front gate have a slogan, labor make freedom. Because I know it. We China have the same slogan, labor makes new life. The first day you get in the labor camp, the police will tell you, do you know how you become a criminal? Because you have too much bourgeois idea, capitalism idea. We sentence you 5 years, 10 years. This is not only punishment. The Communist Party wants to help you, reform you, throw the hard labor, reform, you become a new socialist person, newborn. So if your labor performance, if your reform performance not satisfied, and then the police guy say, I'm sorry, I cannot let you go, because you cannot return to our socialism paradise. Nobody like you. So you have to stay over there. Your sentence right away be extended. Not necessarily need any paperwork or to go to the court. Not necessary. 1960s, the police come to my school, take me away to the labor camps. I don't have paper. I don't have a trial. Even I don't know how many years they sentenced me. The first time in the camp, the police asked me, do you know what is your sentence? I said, I don't know. Oh, let me look up your file. Sentenced to life. That's it. Because you're very stubborn. You have so much bourgeois idea. You need a long term to reform. But they say, we are helping you. 1994, I have a chance to visit Auschwitz camp. I saw by my eye about the gas chamber. And I thought the Hitler's IQ is pretty low. I said, just a damn stupid. Why you physically destroy these people? You deserve the inhumanity. All infamous in all the history. Chinese communists treated differently, thinking differently. In their policy, in print, say, man and woman is the labor force. Those counter-revolutionaries and penal criminals, if we organize them and force them in hard labor, they can make wealthy to our regime. But there's one condition: soul reform. Reduce, become a robot. You're still alive, but you become a robot. Slavery labor, offer your whole life to the country. Probably 2 years ago, many of you very enjoy a movie win the Oscar awards, Schindler's List. I make a comment on New York Times, one sentence. Everything you saw in this movie is happening today in China. Later, I will show you two documentaries. You can see what is it. 1985, I was invited by UC Berkeley. Finally, I have the chance to leave the communist den. At the beginning, the time in the United States was very difficult because I don't have financial. When arriving in international airport in San Francisco, only $40 in my pocket. I cannot afford to have a room for the rental. I stay overnight on the street, on the park, in the bar station. But I believe if I honest to the people, if I work hard, if I never give up, I can have a better life. Okay. But I'm very happy because I come to the freedom country. I can say what I want to say. I can think what I want to think. And you never can imagine how happy was I. And I'm pretty sure after 1 or 2 years, I can afford to buy a car, second-hand cars. I can afford to have a small apartment. And I want to forget about the nightmare. Okay? I don't want to think about it. I find my first job in a donut shop. I'm very happy, working from 9 p.m. to next morning 6 a.m. every night I have to make 72 dozen donuts. It's okay. Even today, I never eat donuts. It's okay. I'm happy. I only $2.85 an hour. I want to start in my new life. I want to turn the page over. I just as you, as a human beings, deserve a better life. I don't want you thinking about it. But I cannot. I cannot turn my back to my motherland, to my former inmates, to my fellow countrymen. Just at the beginning of my speech, I mentioned, in the 19 years, many people, many people, they are very nice guys, smart at me, much better than me. But they become ashes. Nobody remembers them. Nobody talking about. They become voiceless, become nameless, become faithless. If I turn my back to them, it means I betray them. I can't. And sometimes I feel a kind of discrimination. I say, why the people of the world condemn Holocaust, denounce Gulag? 1993, there's a new Holocaust museum. The Americans spent $168 million. Take 12 years, build a museum. I went over there. I said, what's for? There's no concentration camp in Europe. But they told me, remembering, for preventing. I said, okay, what about Chinese concentration camp? But the Jewish director gave me a very, very good lesson. I never forget it. He said, we know about it, but you, Chinese, have to concentrate, walk tall, telling about it. And then the people will support you, back up you. That's why today I come over here. Last year, I back again. They caught me. They tried to keep me over there. Even my American partner kick it out and come back to the United States, tell the Congress, tell the American State Department, tell my family I was arrested because they are secretly arrested me. Every day I make an announcement, say I am an American citizen. According to the agreement between the United States and China, you have to allow me to contact my consul. According to your law, you have to give me the reason. Give me the arrest warrant. And the police say, Harry, forget it. You're special. We know you are coming. You are on the wanted list. We are waiting for you. And then have another comments to me. You have to understand you are the most troublemaker to our government. And this is my accomplishment. I'm very happy and very honored I dare to make some trouble to them. I hope there's many, many Chinese troublemakers, and then we, China, can lead into a new, bright future. Thank you. The first document is CBS 60 Minutes. Second document, we obtained the footage from inside China security. Some picture very disturbing.
If the label says made in, doesn't say is made in China by prisoners.